I want to travel, but I also want to hit, I guess technically 2025. By the end of 2025, I want to hit 1 million subscribers, and I think I can do it with your help. And all I ask is you join me on my journey as I learn about different countries and different experiences and different cultures. Anyway, hope you enjoy this video. Let's get into it.
Poland ain't I'm keeping it real.
I can't believe this guy is like openly saying this on the internet. This is crazy to me. So
Wait, what's the context? Hold up. I didn't get to watch the original video. By the way, because by the time I was gonna react to it, but he privated the video. So I am relying a lot on what Wes is saying here, but that's crazy that he would just say that. Like, I think just Poland ain't shit. I haven't been to Poland and I hope to visit Poland. Poland seems exciting.
Poland ain't I'm keeping it real.
I can't believe this guy is like openly saying this on the internet. This is crazy to me. So I was browsing through my YouTube and I came across this video, The Truth About Poland. So it's a Black American passport bro talking about...
Dang, he went in there dating in the Philippines, dating inside the US. Why dating like, what's dating like for a black man in New York City? Popular videos. Is he like one of those Andrew Tate type people?
His experience here in Poland. He says some things that I agree with, but he said a lot of crazy things that were actually like super disrespectful, almost insulting Poland. So I wanted to go through some of the video, share my thoughts, and hear what you guys have to say about this as well.
Isn't this crazy? This paradox of me reacting to him, him reacting to him. Hold up. Wait. Did he just promo? Wait, what? Hold on. So his Patreon technically other women? Him just taking pictures of other women? Is that what's hold on. I know we're only 36 seconds into the video. Is that what we're looking at here? What the fuck? Everything aside, that's so scummy. That's like, what? It would be different if it was like hers. Maybe it's hers. I don't know. I don't know the context. That's crazy if that's the case.
You know, it's always really weird to me when I see guys make videos like this, taking pictures of the girl, taking videos of her, which seems to be without her permission. A lot of these videos seem to show the women.
So he also agrees on this.
Off almost like conquest, and then you're gonna see how he talks about like the Polish women in general is like super disgusting. Is it just me?
That's actually, you know what's funny? I see what he's saying and I totally understand what he's saying, and I've seen what he's saying. I looked at it as more as like, is this dude like using other women to promote his, like, to make money? I thought it was more of like a Andrew Tate type thing. I guess that is technically the conquest of women. I didn't get that much of a vibe that he's saying, like the way he's saying it, but I can see what he means. Because like, that is very much, that's very common about like a lot of these videos that I'm watching or that I'm getting recommended or coming across. They're from creators who like show off like oh yeah, I just conquered this woman. It's like, brother, like, that's weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's weird.
That thinks this is weird. What do you guys think?
What's up, guys?
Yeah, no, I agree. 100% agree. Like, I just think if you're going to a country, like, I'm not trying to judge, okay? But if I'm going to judge, I'm going to say, if I'm going to a country, for example, like Poland, I'm doing my best to research and learn about it because I want to first experience the culture, the lifestyle, the language, the history. If I meet someone along the way, that's different. But my goal is to just be a good guest first. Then my second goal is to experience what it's like. Same thing with every other country that I want to visit. For example, the Philippines. I want to visit the Philippines, but I got to learn more. I got to learn and learn and learn. And that's why I might not know everything, but I do know one thing for sure. What that guy showing off women like that is really weird. Wes definitely called it right on the nose.
I'm gonna talk about my trip in Poland, and I'm gonna tell you about my experiences as a black man. Let's talk about the city, right? Poland in itself, in the wintertime, is a very gloomy, dark, cold city. People are kind of negative. The girls are, some of them are hot, but you're not.
I mean, most places in the winter are gloomy. That's just how it is. If you actually get really actual winters, as somebody who lived in Texas for a while, our winters were cold, but it wasn't really gloomy because we didn't really get snow or anything like that. And it was still pretty sunny. Whereas here, when I live in Seattle, it's gloomy year round, regardless of the winter, but even more in the winter. So for that's kind of like that just seems kind of given. And then this weird of like girls are kind of hot. Like the transition of that was kind of crazy.
People are kind of negative. The girls are, some of them are hot, but you're not seeing something like drop dead, huh? Gorgeous women where you're like, oh my God, where the average woman is like a 10 or something, or 9 or 8 or some shit like that.
It's funny.
I want to give my take. Is he like, what is his standard of like drop dead tens? Like I myself am more of a, like, it's gonna sound corny, but it's true. I'm more of a personality vibes type person. Good vibes go a long ass way for me. You, because look at me. I'm not a 10. I'm not gonna pretend like I have this a say in this game. But what is, I still want to know what his standard is. Is it like everybody's got to look like Kim Kardashian? Like that's crazy.
He's saying all these things. It reminds me of the videos that I made when I first came to Poland. He came literally during the worst time. And I remember when I first got here, I came during the winter as well. And I thought the same thing. I thought the people were super rude and negative. And I heard a lot about like Polish girls being super beautiful, but I didn't see a lot of it when I first arrived. It wasn't until summer came around where you really get to experience all of the beauty of Poland. So I think what he's saying is fair, actually.
It is like,
That's interesting because I didn't even take it that way. But as somebody who's never been to Poland, I that makes a lot of sense. Um, I mean, everyone's covered up in the winter. Like, what are you gonna be? You gonna? Oh, she's hot. Look at that jacket. what What are you doing? Like, I don't know. I'm a vibes guy, so maybe I shouldn't even. I just have nothing to contribute in that part, I guess. But what he's saying, it does seem like it makes sense.
like regular looking women, and there's some hot girls, and it's cool. And if you're a black American man and you have a little bit of bread, yeah, it's going to be easier for you to get an 8 or 9 because you're like scarce. There are less black men in that country that have money that are American, and obviously you're a good opportunity. They go after you. Western values have unfortunately got over to Poland.
First off, he says if you're a black American with some money, you'll get the 8s and the 9s. From my experience, the Polish girls don't really care about money that much. It's more important that you treat them well, that you're emotionally stable, because a lot of them came from 2-parent households, right? And I'm
That's a good point. We learned this in another video. We talked about this in 2 other videos that we reacted to on the channel. So subscribe because this is not my first Poland video. Being able to be treated right, I think is a huge thing for everyone. But I think the factor of, like Wes said, 2-parent households really allow people to be emotionally mature, much more stable in their life. And one of the things about American households, you find a lot of single parent households everywhere, mostly unstable people who don't have any ambition. And if it's about money, then like it's clear that that's not going to get you anywhere everywhere. So I think that what he's saying, I think that's kind of, I learned this to another, obviously I don't know if it's all true because I haven't been to Poland yet and I haven't dated anybody in Poland. Okay. But the reality is there's been multiple videos that I've reacted to where it's like a common trend of it's not about the money, it's about the stability and the maturity.
sure for him as a foreigner, it's difficult to distinguish between the Polish girls and the Ukrainian girls and the Belarusian girls, who are all very different, even though from the outside they all look the same. In regards to Western values coming into Poland, yes, that is also true, actually. And I see this most prevalent with girls around 24, 25 and below, but it also depends where they come from. If they're from the smaller towns in general, they are a lot more conservative. But Warsaw is just a bubble. Warsaw, just like any big city in the world, is going to be a lot more liberal. And as a country learns more English, American values are going to slowly creep into the population. I have noticed this too, so I actually think he's right.
Western values unfortunately got over to Poland. Poland ain't shit. I'm keeping it real.
That's so crazy. I will not go to Poland. Now, I will say this as somebody who's a big critic of a lot of Western values, or American values. I don't know what he's talking about in the context of it being bad, so we're gonna see that. But I do want to give him credit that there is a lot of American values that are awful, are terrible. Like the sense of like entitlement without any. I guess the big example is American entitlement, right? It's like this idea of entitlement just because there's no rationale or reason. You're just entitled to something that may not be realistic for you.
When I go to Poland, fuck no. No. Because you're basically getting the same bullshit that you get in America, or similar, and you're getting less value for it. The girl I was with, she was nice and
What does that even mean? See, Wes is Wes is seeing it from somebody who lives in Poland, so he has a very unique perspective, and is more of like fact checking. I'm coming in at as what does he mean by you get more value? Is he talking about women? What does that mean? What do you what's going on here? Am I watching an Andrew Tate video?
cool and chill, but you still have to like some sort of game and riz. It's not like when you just show up. Say you go to one country, like you go to South America or you go to Asia, Philippines. You just show up, you just be present, you smile, you have fun. You're not worrying about, is this girl like me? Da da da. I'm gonna get laid. Da 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 da. I was worried about having fun and just talking to the girl because you already know it. And
So he's saying Poland ain't shit because I can't show up and then just be admired for being American, right? Being a different race, being a different culture. Is that what he's saying? I'm pretty sure that's a way I'm taking it. I'm gonna see what Wes says though.
in the night, she coming back to the crib and gonna measure how deep her throat is. I'm gonna keep it in that buck. In South America, you're gonna do the same thing. You be like, you just chilling and have fun, and then you know at the end of the night, you're gonna be
Yeah, I was trying not to laugh, but that was actually really funny.
measuring how deep their throat is.
Oh, dude, what? This is so corny, bro. Like, this is such goofball behavior. I don't know what he means by you're gonna get less value here in Poland.
That's what I was saying. That's exact. I did not pre-watch, but the first thing I heard was, "What do you mean by getting less value? Is it like the amount of money you spend on a girl?" I'm gonna see what he says because I need to stop. I need to see what he says because I feel like his perspective is going to be very different or very similar. I can't tell, but his perspective is very good. Let's see.
This is the kind of guy that thinks just because he has an American passport and he makes more money, which I don't even think he's rich, because if you're really wealthy, you're not talking this way. But
And also, just respectfully, look at the bed. Look at his room. Ain't nothing in there, man. I don't want to judge, right? But like, here's the thing. I don't ever judge or like talking shit about people. But if you are coming out here and saying oh, this country's terrible and these people are terrible, blah 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 blah, that's different, right? I will step up and say shit because he's not talking about a country he lives in. He's talking about a country he visited. So it's like the passport bro or the passport gal, right? I criticize America and I'm just open and honest about it, about the pros and the cons. But it's because I live here. I think it's completely valid. And if people criticize America, I'm fine with that too. I love the conversation. My channel has always been a conversation. But what I don't like is this idea of like, what is the value that you're talking about when it comes to like the country? Is it he's solely talking about the women, and you can't be talking about the value of women in another country if your room looks like this. That's all I'm gonna say. Because like this is my office. This is not my house. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have a sense of like self-awareness when it comes to talking shit. I am no better than nobody else, but I'm not gonna talk shit about Polish women if I have this room. At least have more furniture or shit in the walls.
he thinks just because he earns an American income, he's entitled to get a woman of a certain quality. That won't fly in Poland because Polish girls don't really care about that. In fact, the Polish passport is actually stronger than the American passport. So it makes sense that this guy didn't have a lot of success here. It bugs me because he talks about South America and
And I also want to talk, and that's interesting too. I didn't know that. I might find a video on this about what's the ranking on the Polish passport versus the American passport. But one of the things is this. I want to get this out of the way. Technically, yes, America, we make more money per person. We are just super rich, quote unquote. But everything's so much more expensive. So even though I make more money, if I wanted to travel to Europe or other countries, it's so expensive to do. Whereas like, because if you live, let's say for example, Poland, and you want to travel, it's not that hard on the wallet because you're so much closer to all these countries, but also you're not dealing with all the regulations and all the shit that we have to go through on the American side that America imposes on Americans that drives costs of everything up. So I do want to say this out of the way. So just because an American has money doesn't mean that we're rich. We are richer, but we're not rich because everything costs more here. If I wanted to, I don't know, buy a soda, it's way more expensive than it should be to me. You know what I mean? Like it just makes no sense. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting on a rant because I'm getting worked up. Anyway, let's go.
Asia. Like the girls that he would be getting don't want him just because of his money or his citizenship. And it's so wild to me that a lot of American men will complain about how Western women only want money or a guy who's 6 feet or are like superficial and delusional. But then they only use their passport and money to get girls in these less developed countries. Even though I'm a passport bro in the tradition.
That's exactly a point. He makes a great point. The fact that you have all these dudes who are complaining, again, just rehashing what he says, complaining that they can't get girls in the US and then basically power game their their passport to go to these countries where women want these passports in their life, right? And it's almost like it's irony. It's ironic. It's very, very ironic. And um and in the way I see it, to be honest, for me personally, I don't ever, I know what I want in my life and I know what I want in my future. If a person fits that, that's fine. But the way I see it is like never ever ever should I be like, well, I need this type of woman. I need this type of person. Like they got to be from this place. I'm not as keen to American women anymore. Kind of burnt out on them. They're pretty it's just that entitlement thing, but all Americans really have that. So anyway,
Traditional sense of the term. I hate associating myself with it. When I move to a different country, yes, women is a part of the reason why I move, but I move for a better quality of life. I try to integrate into the culture. Now I'm going to be learning Polish. Guys like this, they're only really interested in short-term hookups. They portray it as like they're dating these girls, but in a lot of South American countries and Asian countries, many of these relationships are pay for play. And guys like this, the way that he talks about like measuring how deep her throat is, I think
that's crazy. That's kind of out of hand. It was funny at first, but yeah, it is definitely out of pocket. But yeah, it's basically he just wants to engage. What he's trying to say is like these guys engage in like soft core prostitution.
is really disgusting and it's just goofball behavior.
A girl asked me how tall I was. I'm 5'10", by the way.
That's not even that short. I'm 5'10".
People in Europe are tall, but like girls don't even ask me that in America. And like I don't know what happened. They're like in Europe.
Just get those shoes that give you the lift, like 3 inches, bro. Just get those, and you're set.
Where they're getting super delusional. It's because like they just live off of the government now. I'm keeping it in a buck. Average minimum wage in Poland is like $200 to $1,000 a month.
Okay, so I think this is where he kind of starts going off the deep end. I think a lot of what he's saying is like super arrogant. And this is why a lot of people hate Americans abroad, because a lot of Americans have this entitled mentality that...
See, the fact that he knows, and I didn't pre-watch, I can tell you though, that is the big thing when watching all these videos is like, as an American, I'm like, I know Americans probably, I just know Americans too well.
Because we're American and because we have money, that we're better than other people. Mm-hmm. The only reason why he can claim all of these things is because he was born in America, right? If he was born in Africa or the Caribbean, like a lot of my friends who really had to get it out of the mud, he would not have this super entitled attitude. And
exactly. That's the perfect way to say it. That's the perfect way to describe it. I myself have found a good place in my life that I still can feel that I can get better, but I still had to get out of the mud in the United States. There's a lot of people who would just never had to struggle, and that's fine. That's perfectly great. But that then communicates that creates a bigger negative culture around American identity.
And I think that's super off-putting. And also the minimum wage in Poland is around $1,000 a month. But with that $1,000 a month, your quality of life is good, to be honest, compared to how it is in the US. So I don't really know what he's talking about when he's saying
If I would rather work to make $1,000 a month and have my life be good than 8 to 10 and it mean nothing.
this. And every time Passport Bros will say, they ask me how tall I am. I don't know why these women are so delusional. I don't really know what he means by that. I'm like 172, so I'm like 5'7.5". I've never had an experience where the girl has cared about my height. I've even talked to girls that are taller than me and they don't really have an issue.
It's the vibes. It's the vibes. And I think like and to even go deeper into this, if the vibe immediately is dang shawty what's up, like you know what I mean? If it's that, like I'm clearly here to hook up, that's not fun. That's weird. It's kind of like, especially if you're only visiting the country. It's just I think it's a bad stereotype.
Dating shorter guys. And this is actually something I've noticed in Europe in general. They don't care about height as much as they do in the US.
Doctors make like 70, 80K there a year. So it's not like they're like doing amazing. So I don't know what's going on. The girls are acting fucking delusional and crazy. And like me and my friend, we went there. We got over 100 matches each of us. He had like 7 prospecting.
The fact that they're doing dating apps in another country, to me is just, your priorities are very different. It's clear that they're there just to try to hook up. That's what it feels like. And because they didn't get the results they wanted, they're upset.
Dates. I had like 4. My girls were hotter. His girls ranged from like 6s, 7.5.
Of course his were harder. I'm gonna talk more shit than Wes. Wes is a better guy than me, okay? I think I think he's married too, right? Doesn't he have a kid or something? I don't know. Anyway, he's a better guy than me, and it comes to I'm pretty straightforward. If you followed and subscribed to this channel long enough, you know I'm very straightforward.
5s, maybe 1 8 in there. Depends on how you will judge her. It just wasn't it. And like the town itself, the food's bad. It's gloomy. People are negative. People are upset that a whole bunch of Ukrainians are there. They hate Russia.
I mean, most people. No one's gonna tell you this, but a lot of the world hates Russia. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Just gonna get that out of the way. A lot of the world hates Russia. For various different reasons. I don't know about the Ukrainians and Polish thing. That's very interesting. I want to see what Wes says about that.
It's just a lot of like negativity there.
He's not totally wrong, okay? So when I first heard this, I thought he was kind of being a jerk, but to be honest, there is a lot of negativity here, but I think it's because of the season. Poland is a country where it's a lot more rewarding the more you invest into it. So the more you understand the history, the more you build friendships with Polish people, the more you learn the language. That's why a lot of these guys who only come here for short term and try to talk about, ooh, Poland's like this, Poland's like that, a lot of it's really wrong because all the good girls that he's saying, like the traditional values and all this BS he's talking about, these good girls will not give guys like this any time of day. From my experience, as soon as...
Perfect. That's exactly, you know what? Exactly. So, and it's like, you want a high quality person, but you want to be a low quality individual, is basically what's going on here. Good job, Wes. Wes nailed it on the head.
The girls here that you're only here for like a couple weeks to a month, you're not gonna get any serious girl who really wants a relationship. He's talking about like a specific demographic of girl that is on dating apps and trying to date foreigners for a short term, but I don't think that's representative of Poland as a whole.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you. That's why we love Wes on this channel.
Really like complaining and being negative.
That's
It's
true.
not me.
That's true.
So when you go there having fun, me and my friend was in the mall laughing our asses off, and then people were looking at us like we were crazy that we were laughing and having fun because a lot of people are just like down and depressed there.
This is where I think he's wrong. I think the reason why people were staring at him, it was because him and his friend were probably making a lot of noise in a ruckus in public. And yes, that will draw a lot of attention. Polish people tend to value order and, you know, respecting people's space in public, but also just not creating a ruckus. That's an issue that Polish people have with a lot of Ukrainians as well. So I don't think it's because the Polish people are depressed. I think it was just he was extremely loud.
So
And to be fair, I want to add this here as somebody who's been learning about all these other countries. Um, there's a lot more. There's other countries that value that same thing as well. So there's some that don't care. They want everything to be loud and always noise. But there's other countries who have that same. We want structure. We want order.
So like they can't even see shit, bro, because they acting like they're American. They dress like they're American. They want to talk like they're American, but you can't have Western values without Western money, baby. You can't have Western values without Western money, baby.
This is some of the goofiest shit that I've ever heard. This is why I think a lot of passport bros, they have this weird delusion, you know, because for the longest time, I agree that Western women were like, men ain't shit. All men are trash. There was legit reason to complain about them, but now the men are equally as delusional. What he said right here, you can't have Western values without Western money. What does he even mean?
That is 100% true. And that's why I'm saying like the dating scene in America is just shot. It's trash. It's just because women for like the last 5 years, 8 years probably were just on this delusional trip of entitlement for something that they can never obtain. And because of that, the men end up going on the delusional train too. So it's like it's just really bad. And then like as somebody who's normal, you can't really have actual conversations with people because they always think that you're like something's wrong with you because you're normal. But it's really because they're not mentally mature or stable. So it's actually that wild over here. So I do want to give him credit for calling that out, but at the same time, what does it even mean? Yeah, he's right.
This entitled mentality is crazy to me. This, I think, is one of the most disrespectful things that he says. All these passport bros like to talk about finding a traditional woman, but then they go to countries looking to sleep with these women as soon as possible, and when they don't put out or they act more conservative, then they have a problem with it. And that to me is like the weird cognitive dissonance that they're dealing with. It's like, yeah, I want a traditional girl, traditional values, and they'll talk about the girls in Asia or Latin America, but they know nothing about these cultures. There are conservative women there, but these women will want you to woo them, spend a little more time in them emotionally.
And even then, it's like I don't know. I think there's a certain like I don't want to just like shit on people who do like want to just hook up, men or women or whatever. I don't want to shit on them because the thing is, I think you can do that if there's a certain grace to it, like a certain like, hey, like I guess that's the best word. It's like a certain grace to it, right? Not as long if you can't participate in something that you actively trash, um, and like only see as a negative. You gotta take the goods and the bads. I think with this like passport bro type behavior, you see only they only want to talk about the bads, but then the goods are only when they're doing something good, not the goods of the culture. If that makes sense.
Invest in them, right? Which I think is all fair. Goofy shit, bro.
So I would say Poland is a no because you're basically going there and like shit like this will happen.
I got nervous because I got nervous that there was copyrighted music. Sorry.
So they left here. People don't have a great image on Americans. Classism, it exists there. Since it's so little of the upper class, then it's like everybody's kind of like the same. Because it's not that much of a wealth disparities between people. It's like most people are like right here, and then like there's like a little bit of people there.
I don't think there's a lot of classism in Poland, from what I can tell. And it is true that the wealth disparity is not that big, which I think is an overall good thing, at least for what I value.
I think it's a great thing, especially if you prefer strong family values. That's 100% a great thing.
And societies are like that. People value different things in partners and people. It's more about like character, not necessarily about job title or how much money you make. So I don't think he's totally wrong in that, actually.
Let's keep it in a buck.
Bro, if I took a shot for every time he said, I'm just keeping it a buck, I'd be dead.
I would say Poland is a no, because there are girls that are harder in Europe where you don't have to do as much effort, as much work as you would do with a Polish girl.
That's so crazy to me. Just hearing that. And you know what's crazy? You know, I'm gonna give credit to this guy in the sense that he's he's not the only one that feels this way. There's a whole culture of people. I mean, someone like Andrew Tate exists and is popular because of the culture like this around him, right? So I don't want to be shitting on this guy too much because the reality is there's a culture of people that mold people like this, and it just ends up being this way. But I do think that if you're gonna choose, try to be more like Wes than you would this guy. I would say be more like me than Wes. Just kidding. I'm taller than him. Just
I
kidding.
was with this girl. She literally makes $200 a month, and she was trying to make me like put in effort to talk to her. And
That's so disrespectful. The fact that he's talking like
I
that.
was looking at her. I was like, she didn't even look that good. But I went out for you guys. 'Cause I wanted to get content.
I went out for you guys for content. That's so demeaning.
This guy's such a freaking clown, man. It's crazy. One, the fact that he's using how much the money the girl makes against her, I think is really, really weird. And this is why I say he's not making money like that, because all the guys that I know that are actually making money like this have no problem dating a girl who doesn't really make any money or is a university student.
Exactly. That's all I'm gonna say. Like,
Because it doesn't matter, right? What matters is that she's a good person, she makes me happy, she's emotionally stable, and if we have a good time together, this money stuff doesn't make it, like, I don't really care about it. He's really arrogant and he brags about how, oh, you can't act this way if you don't make that money. But that has nothing to do with the character.
bro's acting like he wants to act like a celebrity, but he's not an actual celebrity. So then he goes to these countries where his dollar's worth more, thinking he can get that status, and it doesn't work out. That's literally what's going on here.
Of a person.
I also think it's weird that he's saying, oh, you can't talk to me because you make this amount of money. But then he talks about Southeast Asia or Latin America, and the incomes there are just as low.
This guy, done seen Homegirl, which is Homegirl, you see in the video, is super nice, super chill, definitely wifey material, tight body, tight everything. Just super sweet, very kind and gentle. I'm not saying all Polish girls are bad. I am not going to go to a different country and deal with the same bullshit as I deal with in America. I already figured.
I had to roll my eyes and pause and then roll my eyes again. All right, let's see what Wes says.
So this is just his experience, and because of the energy he's putting out, he's attracting certain kind of girls. I will tell you from first-hand experience, yes, there are Western values here, but girls here are not the same as girls from America. It really depends on what you put out. Like, hookup culture does exist here, but it's very, very
It says it's more common in Warsaw. My camera's in the way.
small minority. For the most part, Polish people in general are looking for a relationship, both the men and the women. So that's why when he says stuff like this, I'm just like, nah, this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Now I want to go up and show up and say, hello, my name is Rich. How you doing? And it's just easy. And the girls are chasing me and want to get me.
But they only want him for his passport and this money thing that he brings to the table. Because I can just tell you, like, watching this video, she's pretending, right? Because people who have money and who are really about that life don't move this way. It's just this insecurity of trying to flex for YouTube and for other people that is so off-putting. And this is why the whole passport bro movement, I try to stay away from it as much as possible, because you have a lot of goofy people like this.
And I just think, like, to me, it's just I'm gonna say it as it is. It just seems like guys are really struggling in the US with their egos and getting girls, if that's what their goal is. So then they want to engage in softcore prostitution in other countries.
I am not trying to go to a country and chase these hoes, especially broke hoes that make $200 to $500 a month. What the f I look like? Why should they chase you? Because I can change that life.
I can change that life. Bro, change your own life. Change. Why is your bed so close to your door? How do you get out?
I can change that life. I'm keeping it above.
Dude, it's just insecure behavior all day long. The last girl I dated, well, she was in college, so she wasn't making a ton of money, so I paid for most of the things. It didn't matter because I enjoyed spending time with her.
It's the vibes. It's the individual. It's the goals. Like, imagine, like, take me. I have a job. I have a 9 to 5. I'm not crazy rich, but I manage to support myself. And one of my goals in life is to make this content worth something for other people, right? To have it have value, to leave a legacy of something. Some people might see my job and think, oh, that's great, blah, 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 blah. But then see my YouTube stuff as extremely immature. But let's say down the road, the YouTube thing becomes what I actually do for a living. This is how I make my money, and I'm super successful. I will still be looked down on because it's YouTube, right? So that's why I say, like, it doesn't matter the money. It's always going to be the vibes that you get from the other people. Because no matter how you make the money, you will be judged by some and you will be judged by none. Because if I had it my way, I would want to be able to make YouTube content and not be judged for it. But at the end of the day, I know that, like, I have to wait. I know that not everyone's going to be open to that. They might still see me as immature. And there's countless stories of YouTube creators who were successful and like made a really huge living off YouTube, and their partner would leave them. Like, there was a story of a guy who just got divorced because he had a popular YouTube channel making videos on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't care for Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh. But his wife left him because he went from a popular YouTube creator making money to quitting that to try to do a 9 to 5, and then was constantly judged when he didn't have the same amount of money for a different job. And so then he goes back to making videos, and then she basically gave him an ultimatum, and he chose to leave her. So it doesn't no matter. Money ain't shit is what I'm saying. And if you think money is your personality, you're gonna look like this guy. Look at this guy. Miserable.
She came from a great family. I met her dad, all these good things. And that's how I know these guys are not serious, because the way that they talk about women, it's only about body. It's only about how they look and getting hotter girls over the next one. It's all just like BS talk for the boys. And this is how I know that Poland is still good, because guys like this have a bad experience dating here.
Facts. You know what? That's even more of a reason for someone like me to go, because I know there's not going to be shitters that are just going to be wandering around. And people aren't going to be rewarding that behavior.
I have black friends from Africa or Jamaica, and they do super well here because they're more wholesome. They're looking for relationships. And this guy is just saying Poland is bad because he doesn't bring a lot to the table, and he's projecting that onto Poland as.
And even then, like, here's the thing. I'm not looking to travel for like women, right? Like, that's not for me. Like, I mean, it might be, but it's not my priority. I want to experience the world. I want to open up my horizons and get things firsthand and share that journey with you guys. But I also understand that it's important not to bring a culture like this to another country, because I can see the effects of it, what happens here in America when you have a lot of people like this in America. It makes it shitty. It makes it shitty.
As a country, which I think is wild.
One of my friends did measure this girl's throat on a first date, but she wasn't that high quality, bro. She was 26, single mom, cocaine addict, and ex-stripper.
Of course.
And speaking on girls who like to get paid for the time, the girls over there wanted $210 for their time, for their box, an hour.
And this is what I mean, right? So he's talking about dating, but a lot of it's pay for play. Now, I don't know if the girl he...
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is, he literally, before we even got to this part, that's exactly what it sounded like.
Went out with was pay for play. Maybe it was just a girl that he found on Tinder. But he was talking about cocaine, single mom, all that stuff. Of course, these are the desperate girls that are looking for foreigners to bail them out. Most Polish girls are not like that. They're not.
That's crazy the way he said that. Let me repeat that. I'm going to go back because that's actually really important.
Maybe it was just a girl that he found on Tinder. But he was talking about cocaine, single mom, all that stuff. Of course, these are the desperate girls that are looking for foreigners to bail them out.
That's crazy. I mean, but I believe it. I mean, hell, even in the U.S., there's a lot of single moms and evil single dads or just terrible deadbeats, dudes that want someone to bail them out.
Polish girls are not like that. There are not a lot of single moms here compared to other countries like Latin America, for example. I'm glad that he's making content like this because it will deter a lot of sex tourists like him from coming to Poland. And that's how I think like Poland, their traditional values are still quite good. But it's changing. You know, being a foreigner 10 years ago definitely had a lot more appeal than now. I see like in the next 3 to 5 years, Poland is just gonna be like any other Western country. What do you guys think of this video?
I hope not. Because why? That's another thing too. Why would you throw away something so good about your country to just, for what? Like, for what? What, for what? For what? For what? Literally for what? Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Yeah, we're going to check out this other video that he did where he responds to Wes. Which again, by the way, the original video was privated, so we didn't get to react to the original one. Anyway, I'll check you on the next one. Bye bye.